I was born in England at the end of the war, and my father's in the Navy and transferred to the New Zealand Navy in 1951. And I came out as a small boy on a ship and eventually bought a house in Bayswater, which was where I was brought up, and loved the cliffs and the mud flats and the ferries and all that sort of thing. I went to Takapuna Grammar, and I had Owen Lee as an art teacher, and went to Edam, had tutors of Colin McCahon, he started in 1962, and Garth Tapper, Robert Ellis, who had an influence on my painting. Taught for a short time in Hamilton and then at Westlake Boys from 71 to 85, and then I taught at Wycliffe for 30 years, teaching painting and printmaking. But I like the gestural quality of paint. I like sort of giving an impression of what I see. Often when I'm out, I'll do a quick sketch to try and get the very basics of the picture, such as the one that's from Mount Eden, which captured a moment in time of the last of the sun on Mount Eden and the cool light in the front and that sort of thing that you can just do on a tiny sketch and then paint it in the studio or paint it there and go back and work on those themes. But the New Zealand landscape's been a great inspiration to me as a painter.
You mentioned that you were a student of Colin McCahon. Could you tell me some of the things that he taught you or stood out for you?
Because I was sort of a fairly traditional painter, and his works of course were quite abstract at the time, and in my second year when I was pretty unsure about what I was doing, and it inspired me to do a whole series of works that had worked pretty well, because everyone was doing American abstraction and all that sort of thing, and he got me into painting studio work sort of inspired by Matisse, strong colours and abstracts of studio stuff, and that worked for me very, very well, and that was what I did. But he didn't say a lot. When he was looking at my work, he looked through it for about 15 minutes and didn't say a word, and I was getting more and more waiting for the crunch, and in the end he pulled out one work which was of a studio, and he said, that's what you should do, and have a look at the early works of Matisse, which was the two things that inspired me. And I often say to students that from a lecturer there might be one comment that sets you off, and that's it worked for me like that. And it's nice to exhibit at the depot, it's a good space.